Jedd Fisch is the new head coach of the Washington Huskies, and we have been doing these first-year expectations, even going back to last year, for first-year head coaches at their new stops. Joe, I know you have been inducted to the fandom of the Washington Huskies after you were all over them all year long this past year, even though I told you they were going to get their cheeks clapped at the end. You didn't listen. Regardless here, okay, what is your expectations about a really good head coach and Jedd Fisch, who turned around Arizona relatively quickly?
I spoke very highly of the hire, but Washington fans, we got to be very perfectly clear here for a quick second. I am not a Washington Husky fan. Things change year to year. I pick the teams that I think are going to do well based on their rosters, their coaching staffs, the upcoming schedule that they're going to play. And I especially have a hyperfixation on the draft prospects that they're bringing into the season, because more often than not, if you've got a bunch of first-round picks, you're going to be a damn good football team. I am not very bullish. I'm not really all in on Washington this upcoming offseason. Going into the Big Ten in their first year, Jedd Fisch is a good coach. You got a great defensive coordinator in Steve Belichick, which I really liked. I think in the long term, Washington is going to be one of the better top 5 teams in the Big Ten. They're going to be a team that is going to be able to get to the playoff just like they did in the Pac-12. But holy shit, Blake, their roster got completely... You good over there?
I disagree with that unless they do one big thing.
Okay. To round out what I was just saying, though, they're getting picked apart. They're losing a number of important players to the portal that left to go to Alabama, and one going to Oregon. Jabbar Muhammad's going to Oregon. Parker Brailsford and Austin Mack went to Alabama, so the future of your quarterback position is a little bit up in the air.
Didn't Will Rogers stay in? Will Rogers staying there?
He did, and he's a good quarterback, and it increases the floor of your quarterback room. But you're going to lose. All of these guys are going to be top 70 picks in the 2024 NFL draft. Michael Penix, who was at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, Troy Fautanu, Roger Rosengarten, Braylon Trice, Roman Dunze. Those are your top 3 wide receivers. That's your starting quarterback. Those are both of your tackles, one of your guards, and then your best defensive lineman. That is an unbelievably large amount to replace. And I think that we need to be really cautious here with our expectations for Washington in 2024.
I don't disagree with that. All right, so here's how I look at Fisch and why I think I agree with you that they were completely depleted, okay, when DeBoer left. And a lot of they're really good players that left, Muhammad, Mack, and a lot that left and went other places, and a lot of them went to Miami. Joe, can I bring up a game that I always bring up, and you've heard me talk about this? I've seen Jedd Fisch completely change a team in the middle of a season and have a lot of success. I mean, considering the team that lost to Mississippi State in week 2, considering that did they win 10 games or did they win 9?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
10.
So you have a double-digit win team, Joe, that lost to Mississippi State on the road. I do think this is a really good coaching staff. I think that he's a really good coach. I do think that they will surprise some people. But they might surprise some people, maybe have a win that they're not supposed to here. I still am with you on this. I am cautioned because I don't know if they have the talent going into the Big Ten where they can, I see them as an 8-win team. 8, maybe high ceiling 9-win football team. And I think that that's very favorable in a year 1 under Jedd Fisch. I do think that the Florida job is going to come open, and I think Washington fans are going to have to really sweat that one because I do think Jedd Fisch being a Florida guy, there could be some connection there. But for year 1, this one, Joe, you're going into a new conference, year 1 under a head coach. I give them a solid 8 wins. Let that be the goal. Get to a bowl game, potentially get to that 9th win. But I still think it's a really good staff. And look, they still do have some talented players in that roster. Now, they lost a lot. I'm really excited to see Will Rogers in the Pac-12. I think, or Big Ten, not Pac-12. In the Big Ten, I keep calling it the Pac-12. But I'm really interested to see it now and how that all goes down.
My biggest thing, though, and it is such a cliche, but it is a correct cliche. If you're going to play in the Big Ten, how are you built up front? How is your offensive and defensive line?
That should be wherever you play at any given moment.
But in the Big Ten, more than anywhere, like you can get away with it, the Big 12 and the ACC. If you're like Florida State, their offensive line wasn't the best in the country. I mean, it had some holes, and they still got as far as they did.
The Big Ten is closer to the SEC than the ACC. Big 12 is closer to the Big Ten.
Sure, let's go with that. That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes, to me it does. They don't have the hogs in the middle. They don't have the boys in the middle to stop any of the rushing attacks that they're going to see when they have to play the likes of Iowa, Penn State. Penn State's going to run the football well.
Do you mean
Michigan's
like the way that they
well.
just played Michigan?
Shut up. Look, but wait, but that's a really good point, though. That's a very good point here. Where
interesting.
Wait, stop.
Against me.
That was a month ago. Stop. The season's over. The season's over. But that's the whole point, though. With all of that offensive prowess and all of that explosiveness, they still couldn't get the job done with the bodies that they had on their offensive and defensive line. And now they're losing all of their top offensive linemen and defensive linemen going into next year. We got to be realistic here. 7 wins is what they're going to do. And that's not bad for everything that just transpired over the offseason. That's the main point here. Don't get upset, Washington fans, if you only win 7-8 games. That's a good year for a first-year head coach taking over a program that just got, just lost all of these players.
He did bring Fisch. He did bring some players with him from Arizona. Corner Jordan Shaw, Audric Harris, Price Scott, the corner, Jonah Coleman. He also did go get some other, Joe, I do think interesting additions. He did go get Valdez, the defensive lineman, Will Rogers also. But the problem is he had so many outgoing. They also got Trey Watson from Fresno State as well in there, the tight end, and Jeremiah Hunter, who from Cal, who when they played Auburn, I thought was the best player on their team, to be honest with you. So, look, I do think he's added some talent, but I do think Will Rogers can win you a game. Maybe you're not supposed to. I'm with you. 7-8 wins, get to a bowl game. It has to be the expectation there and possibly get to that 9th win in that bowl game. Let me ask you this question, Joe. Are we having this same conversation next year about Washington?
No. Well, so that's my whole point. Just because this first year's not great doesn't mean we need to freak out.
No.
What do you mean?
We having this conversation because Jedd Fisch goes to Florida and Washington's is in the same boat next year, and we're having the same discussion?
Do you really think Florida is going to pay his buyout?
Yeah, I think they would. I think they're so desperate to win that they will pay what they got to pay. People don't realize what Florida is. They don't. Florida is the biggest sleeping giant in college football right now that's not winning football games. The right guy gets in there, they're gonna. I'm telling you,
here's what I'm gonna say to that though. If I'm Billy Napier, or not Billy Napier, if I am Jedd Fisch, am I taking this job on a multi-year deal with an inkling of a thought that Billy Napier could be fired? Because he definitely talked to his agent. Like, you think that if he wasn't interested,
you know what his buyout? Just curious, you know what his buyout is?
I can look it up. But this is the whole point that I'm getting at, though, is that you don't think that he would have just stayed at Arizona for the sake of just finishing it. Like, to move twice is a lot.
I do think it's a lot, but you can't. We're about to talk about Missouri's AD and how it's a downgrade and where she's going. Ironically, it's to Arizona where Jedd Fisch just left. There's something about going home. There's always something about going home. Do I think he would do it? Yeah. Do I think that Florida Do I think it would be a hiccup with Florida potentially? Yeah, I do. I mean, you know that he's not the guy that I would want for them if I'm them.
But what I'm trying to get at, I don't disagree with you. He's a New Jersey guy who went to the University of Florida, and that was where he started his coaching career. Did not play there. I don't disagree that he wouldn't be incentivized to want to return to coach his alma mater. But what I'm trying to say here is that if that was what his goal was, wouldn't he have tried to set himself up to easily pursue that? Like, forget like the buyout thing and all that. It is difficult to relocate and try to start over the foundation of a football program that quickly twice. It's
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. So you're saying no. I tend to lean with you a little bit there. I think that'd be very difficult for him to do that as well.
I can't find his buyout.
I would love to know it.
10 million?
If it's anywhere around
10 million.
Excuse me?
That's what this says. This says if Fisch ends up taking I need to know if I'm misreading this or not. If Fisch ends up taking a job elsewhere before January 8th, 2025, his new employer would have to send the same amount to UW. Oh no, it's 12. So if he leaves before 2025, it's 12 million.
That ain't
and then
nothing.
It goes down to 10.
Nothing. That's nothing. $12 million? Oh, bro. Florida would stroke. Hey, what pen do you want me to stroke it with?
Stroke what now? What do you
you got to be quicker. You know, if you're going to do a Blake joke, you got to be quicker. Struggle with what? You know, you got to be quicker than that, okay? You know that commercial where the guy's got the fishing pole and he's got the dollar bill on the other end?
You got to be quicker.
You got to be quicker than that.
It's a Geico commercial or is it State Farm?
I don't commercial. Know. You saw they brought the caveman commercials back?
I did see that.
It's just so but they can't say caveman. Last part on Jedd Fisch. Look, I do think that it was an excellent hire by Washington. Okay, I think that he is one of the coaches that I'm really high on and have been high on. I think that Arizona, Joe, for both of us, really, the one thing that we agreed on was kind of our hype team throughout the year because we were excited on how good they had been. Just think it's another beast and another animal that they're trying to go into here. And I got to be real with you. The Belichick hire is an interesting one. Joe, there is a strong possibility it doesn't work. Like, there is a strong...
there's a strong possibility the whole thing doesn't work, you know?
Then that means it's Belichick doesn't work.
Yeah, that's why Belichick's a good coach. I mean, we could say that about any coordinator hire. I mean, he's coming from the NFL. It's not somebody who knows how to coach at the college level. Yeah, so there's a shot that it doesn't work. But I think the uniqueness of it is what is exciting. At the end of the day, they're going to be scrappy. They're going to be a team that comes out swinging, and they're going to be a team that probably steals a win that they're not supposed to. Maybe that's Oregon. Maybe that is Penn State. Maybe it's Michigan.
If they beat Oregon again, I think that Oregon needs to file for a restraining order. Because the Huskies would have smacked that ass 3 straight times. More than that. They better file for a restraining order. All right.
Yeah, I think that would be 3 straight times.
I think it may be more than that. I'd have to go and check.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about our good friends over at Home Field Apparel. Missouri's AD is on the move. We talk about that, Joe, next.
Ruffino and Joe Show is brought to you by Home Field Apparel, which is the best, without a doubt, premium collegiate apparel brand that is out there. They have over 150 different colleges that you can choose from, whether you're an Illinois fan or a Rutgers fan, maybe you're an LSU fan like Blake, or maybe you're an Alabama fan. Whatever it is, even Idaho, they have so many different designs for so many different football programs that I can guarantee you're going to find some great stuff to help root for your favorite team. I've already gotten my Notre Dame stuff. Blake has his LSU stuff. Make sure you head on over to homefieldapparel.com to check out your team's collection of clothing apparel that they have on the website. And when you do so, when you check out, make sure you use promo code Ruffino Joe to get 15% off your order. That is RUFFINO, Ruffino Joe. Head on over to homefieldapparel.com and get your college gear today.
Very loyal Washington Huskies listener here says, I just want Washington to beat Michigan.
It's possible. Both teams are starting over. I could see it.
Michigan's in a much better position.
Yeah.
If Washington upsets Michigan,
yeah,
you know what we're going to do?
What?
We're going to come in here and say, oh, man, what's wrong with Sharon Moore?
I mean, it'll be very easy, clickable content for us if that does happen. I'm rooting for it. I think that would be the perfect level of chaos.
Of course you're rooting for
Yeah,
it.
because not for Washington reasons, for storyline reasons.
I swear to God, I think you're a closet Washington fan.
I am not.
I feel like
when I just shit on them for
when
20
the college
minutes.
football game comes on.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.